Friday, July 25th, 2008, and I'm interviewing David G. Hartlove, Jr. Okay, set that there. All right, so why don't you tell me a little bit about your background, where you were born, your parents' names, that sort of thing?
Well, let's see, it was November the 23rd, 1908. A couple of years ago. Born in Baltimore City. And my dad was a Navy enlisted man at the time, of the old school. And he was away most of the time of my young days, like up till I was 9 years old. Did an awful lot of time in the...
Turn it off. So it's in a cool area.
He did an awful lot of time in the Asiatic Fleet.
Mm-hmm.
He liked the Navy, and he was very familiar with that area, having been in with the service quite some time. He talked very little about the Navy. Not that he didn't like it or anything, because he did love it. But we, the children, were more or less controlled by our mother. And ending up with 6 children, I think that was damn good. He went on to finish 18 years in service then, given 2 extra years, I assume, for a what is known as a minority cruise, for the first cruise. From then, we were moved from Baltimore City out to Baltimore County, and it had more suburban life, more open life, country life, with farms around us. And although my dad had no dealings or wantons for fire, he wanted to get the kids in a good area with schools and like that, and safe areas where we were around. And although I didn't have a dad home very often until I was around 10 years old, then he retired from the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And it brought him closer to home and to schooling and stuff that we should have. Again, the kids were more or less run by my mother, and a fantastic lady. From the old school, I always said.
What does that mean, from the old school?
It's when the mothers knew how to be mothers. They knew how to control schools and the children. Not too long ago, but just the other day, we were talking about kids and neighborhood kids and like that. And some of the children today, I can remember when if we were bad in the neighborhood, and bad enough that they had to, they would a neighbor, adjoining neighbor, or across the street or so, would come at if you said something like dirty words, as we used to call them. They'd come out and smack you in the mouth, and then go home and tell your mother they did it. And that was children control. That was no assaulting or meanness toward it. We saw that lady, their man, the next day. We said hello to him by name. But we didn't have, sure, we had, when I was 16, I belonged to a neighborhood group, as we were. We enjoyed what the idea of being together, and each group would pick their own type of kids and everything, and we never none that meetings that I've ever had or been to was anything other than looking for a good little parties to go to, birthday parties or whatever, and or one would graduate from high school or something like that. That would be another reason for the neighborhood. It was different like it is now. It's kind of unbelievable the difference between then and now. And I blame the people. I mean the people, the everyday people who growl about the Christ in their advertising, in your conversations. It was, well, like I say, we knew the different people and we were around and who we associated with, and if there was a bad one, uncontrollable child in the neighborhood, your parents know you didn't fool with that kid, and they all told you maybe one time, and it was so different. I was raised actually after school. There was a farm across the street from us, and all our neighbors and ourselves, we were located on the farm during the day when somebody wanted to get in touch with you or anything. The farmer left us come over, and he let us play on the lawn, on the farm. He had some silly little rules that you can take any vegetable out of the field you want, but you make sure you take it home that the family can use it. And we would work for him, help him pitch hay, open up straw bales, and bedding prepared for the
How old were you
animals.
Then? How old were you then?
Huh?
How old were you then?
Oh, from when I was 10 years old up.
Okay.
And we were showed by the handyman on the farm. The farmer himself, who he didn't own. He was on there. He rented. Everybody called it his farm, but it wasn't his farm. It was the Steve Silverware company. Mr. Steve owned it. We never saw him. His house was away from the barns and like that. And, we were allowed to do what we want on there because the farmer himself that was in charge controlled it. I remember the first day we went over there. He called us over and said, yes, he saw we were new kids and what, and he gave us his instructions, what we can do, what we can't do, and who was in place. And there's a gentleman, a black man, who brought some bulls up, and he was doing his daily work. And the farmer called him over and says to him, here's some new children we're going to have, boys and girls on the block, my sisters and brothers and I. And he said to him, first place, his name is Mr. Brown or whatever. He said, I don't want you to call him anything but that. He said, any other words about his name, you're either going to tell us why you used it and that you're never going to use it again. He said, or you don't come back. So when I went home one day, I asked my dad, I said, told him what this name he told us not to say anymore about a black man. He said, if you see any more, because those days we never saw him. Mm-hmm. Not too long after that, my dad had a driveway repaired, concrete driveway, and there was a black man who was out there doing it. So when he was finished, it was lunchtime, and he knocked off the work. We were helping him get water and buckets of water and concrete and like that, to feel that we part of the job. And we went over and I talked to my dad. I said, Dad, how come they only got one man like this? No others are around here working. He said, well, we don't have a reason for him to work around here, the properties. He says, but there are other men like him. He says, and he says, one thing I want to tell you, and I'll never forget this. My dad said, don't ever let me hear you use the word "in" when talking about this man. He says, I'll explain something to you. There are many white men that could be called that. He says, and it would be true, because that's where they are. He said, it's not his color, his skin. And I never saw, until I went in the Navy, I never saw another black man. It's true, and I was 17 years old when I went in the Navy. I never saw a black man since then. And I mean, until then. And because we just weren't around. Some farms would have white men that were workers, and you just happened to have a black man on this farm. But you know, I listened to this foolishness on radios and television, and what it makes sound like to me, there are people who are trying to make a name for themselves or put a point over, and they're always grabbing for the worst end of it. It's ridiculous. But I haven't personally never heard anyone else use that word again to anybody. It's honest truth. And I'm coming up on a little age where see that. How old am I going to be?
90.
90. Yeah, that's enough.
So let me ask you. You were brought up in a very Catholic upbringing, right?
Well, yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
I went to public school.
Uh-huh.
We couldn't afford a Catholic school. To be honest with you, my dad was a Navy man, and back in those days, he started off and like I did when I went in the Navy. That was a funny part. I never told my dad said whether I was going in the Navy or not. Never.
Mm-hmm.
He'd come home, he'd bring sailors home with him, and then later when he was chief, he would bring the chiefs home and like that, and stay at the house for the weekend or so, and for their party they have, and but we never. My dad played the guitar, and they had a little band of their own aboard ship, the guitars and ukuleles and like that, violins, and they had music. Oh man, they'd go out on the front porch of the house and start playing that music, and you see neighbors come taking a walk. They come down to hear the music. They sit on the front steps and listen to it. I mean, that was, and there wasn't any filthy words or anything like that. It was just good old singing.
Did you join the Navy because your dad was in the Navy?
No, I didn't. This is what I wanted to say. I didn't. One time, my dad, it was during Depression, mm-hmm. and my dad wasn't, like I say, they wasn't the richest of the people, because he started off at 21. I remember he started off at $18 a month, and I went in. I went in 1936, and it was 18. It started at 21. They just made it 21, and Roosevelt, Mrs. Roosevelt, President Roosevelt's wife, she told the newspapers that the only thing a military man needed in the Army or Navy was enough to buy his toilet articles and to go ashore for a visit or like that. Mm-hmm. And that's all we needed. And luckily she didn't get it. But because they were arguing when I went in, it was 21. And it was, we were sitting at home listening to the radio, and some of my cousins and aunts and uncles came over to visit my dad, and after their conversation, my dad reached in and broke out some money and loaned them money. When my my relatives left, I asked him, "What was that all about, Pop?" He says, they need a couple $. When they come by, I say, notice you once in a while they'll come back, you loan them some more, or they give you some back. He said, I loan them to keep when they need it to keep them going. He says, that's what you're here for, take care of each other. And I looked at him and I said, someday I'm going to get one of those checks come through the mail. They drop them in the mailbox in the door. And you don't know. Your mother or dad goes to the door and picks it up and opens it up and they're all smiles. And here comes the neighbors and relatives and bar. And Dad said, well, and they bring it back. So when they're finished with it and they get theirs enough, then they bring it back. But, someday I'll get one of them. And I was in my 12 and 10, teen years. Mm-hmm. So that's all was said about it. So one day, my dad, school started. It was summertime, end of summer, school started. And my dad was going in late for work that day. He had come out of the Navy. My dad come out of the Navy one day, and the next day he had a job with a furnace withing company. I'll never forget the names of these. If it's important, I'll remember it. And he was complaining about the weekends and like that. There are too many weekends and holidays and all. And he was going to look for another job. Well, he didn't have time to look for it. Nobody was worrying. So he was in Baltimore City there. He went out to lunch, and he went to a little beer joint down on the corner. And on the way past it, they passed this new building that was going up. And it was the USF&G insurance company. They were putting a new building up. So Dad came home that evening. He said to my mother, starting next week, I've got a new job. My mother said, what do you mean you got a new job? Because this was in Depression times. Mm-hmm. And he says, I was going to lunch and I saw this building. Man was hanging a sign out on the door. Wanted help, I went in there. I said, I got the job. My mother said, who give you a job that fast and you taking a chance where you're at now was good? My dad said, but it's better. He says, they pay more and they work you less. So he took that job. And Depression didn't mean anything to me. When I could see my job come out of the Navy, the next morning get a job. Yeah. Goes to lunch one day, and the next day he's got a new job. And that's honest to God too. And he stayed at that job until he retired and then died. Stayed right by the same company. And so anyway, I told my dad that this day he's going to drop us off at school because he went in late for work or something, and he said he could drop us off at school. And we went up to the school, and he pulled over to the side. He stopped and pulled over to the side and let us out. I said, wait a minute, Dad. Don't stay here too long. But just wait a minute. And I see these kids coming, lugging to school and back. And I had a half a year to go to complete it. Used to have half years then. Mm-hmm. And I had a half year to go. And it was lunch. They were just getting there for school and going in and like that, and hollering back and forth to each other. And So I said to my dad, I'll be right back. And I go over to the school, I go into school, and a little while later I come out. And I said, no, drop me off downtown. And I had pulled out a letter I had in my pocket. I had written to the recruitment status. I saw it had in the paper for new enlisted personnel sign up that day and everything. They were taking 20 that day. And I said, I got this out of the newspaper yesterday, and I showed it to him. And I said, I want to go. So he looked at it and he said, you what? I said, I'd like to go. He says, you know what it means? He says, your first 3 months was training. He says, you won't go home or be home until it's over. He says, and you haven't told your mother you're going. And I said, no, I want you to tell her. But he said, well, you're your boss. And I got back in the car, and my brothers and sisters got out and went to school. I got back in the car, and I just took the letter down, and they told me, said, well, we have 20 or 21. He said, you may not need you. He said, but if we do, he said, we can take you. Everything. He said, will your mother and father sign for you? And yeah. Well, we'll get them to sign. And my dad was still outside, so Dad went in and signed and looked at me. Let me know when it's over, whether you get your examinations or what, or pass, or, you know. So we went on. He went to one to work, and I hadn't called him or anything. So he says he come by where we were, and they hadn't decided yet on them. There were 20 examinations and medical and everything else. So I remember I had a half a school to go.
All right.
So he said, you sure you want to do this? I said, yes, sir. So I'm going to get one of those little envelopes you get. And I got out and I went in, and one boy failed his physical. His eyes were bad, extra bad, I guess, because I had a little trouble with my teeth, but they could fix that.
Right.
So they took me instead of him. I saw my mother 3 months later.
So you didn't even tell her that you were going?
I didn't have time to tell them. They were all finished, ready to send them up, put them on the Old Bay line, it was, and go to Norfolk, between Norfolk and Baltimore. Every day they had changed. One would leave Baltimore, one would leave Norfolk. They'd take people, sightseeing or overnight visits or like that. So they put me on that, and went on down, and they signed us up down and re-examined everything at Norfolk. Next day, checked us in, and my dad, I'll never forget, my dad left me at the boat place, and he gave me a big hug and a kiss and a $5 bill. That's what I started life off with. Yeah.
So, now your dad had a lot of tattoos, right?
My dad, well, I guess you'd call him a lot. We didn't pay him any mind. He had a wrist, a bracelet. He had one on his shoulder, on that arm, and on the other shoulder he had something more half worn out red. It was been there a long time, and he didn't have that. That's all he had, just 3.
How come you didn't get any?
Huh?
How come you didn't get any?
I was rather a different person. Chris, I was my own thing. I never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've never had one in my mouth. And I'm got a couple years age in me. Never had one in my mouth. Because the guys would get around and say, "Come on, Dave, have a smoke." No. Taste it. I don't want it. If I'm not going to taste it, not going to smell them, I'm not going to taste them. And a couple of guys get rich and make him do it. Say, let's go. But I'm not going to smoke. When I crossed the equator years and years ago, when I went across the equator, I was a naval officer, and everybody went through the examination or rituals and like that. And, I went through them all, but I told them under one condition: I don't smoke. It's okay. What about a cigar? I said, well, I ain't gonna walk around here all day trying to smoke a cigar. I'll take a smoke of a cigar. And not a smoke, I took a puff. And I took a puff of that. And never smoked again until years and years later, when the doctor ordered me to smoke a pipe. He said something that you carry in your mouth and put in your hand. It was a nervous condition. I'd gotten through the school and everything. And I smoked a pipe for 2 or 3 years. In other words, if I had it in my pocket, I'd stick it in my mouth, and if I didn't have any tobacco, I'd let it go at that, It was nothing. It wasn't a have-to-do thing. And I've got in my home right in the half there, I have tobaccos, pipes. I got fancy pipes. I've got exotic pipes that I used to buy and save, and was making me smoke one time. And when everybody started quitting the cigarettes, I quit, just like everybody else, and never went back to it. The other day, I told my grandmother, your grandmother, I think I'm gonna get one of my pipes out and try it. I said, I used to like them. She said, go ahead. You ever see a one-handed man walking around? So that was it. But so I was a kind of a different guy. I delighted in doing that. If somebody didn't want to do something, or I didn't want to do anything, I wouldn't do it. And with nobody bigger than me that could make me do it. But when I had a brother a year and a half younger than I, Joe, God help him, he's passed away. But he and I were almost like twins. We went together, we rode together, we did everything. And Joe never smoked till he got in the Navy. I went in the Navy, and I was aboard ship one day sitting on a carrier, and we were going swinging around on a anchor, and we're watching movies. all of a sudden somebody run up to me and cracked me on the back. And, "Hi there, sailor." I turned around. It was my brother. My brother had shipped in the Navy. And they didn't write and tell me about it. He finished training his 3 months and had put into the same ship that I was on, going to it. And
What ship was that?
that ship was the USS Yorktown, the one that died in Midway in World War II. And my brother and I, we slept across from each other, and were up or down from each other. There were 3 bunk beds, and a row of them lived in. I was the old Navy when you lived in a sea bag, and you rolled your clothes and tied them with knots, and the knot had to be the same way, and everything had to be perfect. And they may call your division and say, "We got locker inspection." Everybody would go down and line up at your locker, and they'd expect them. If it's tied wrong or the knot's wrong, you get punished for it. It was a good thing. And to show you, my brother and I joined one of the ships. We had boxing teams. Back in the old days, every ship had boxing teams. I mean boxing, not this dumb stuff they call now. They call it boxing. I don't even go and watch. That's, to me, that's cannibalism. That's trying to kill somebody. I mean, deliberately. Beat them in the face and sit on them and choke them. Probably wrap your legs around their neck and choke them to death. And that ain't boxing. My brother and I boxed in teams. We never lost a fight. Neither one of us.
Did you ever fight him?
No. Well, he and I would practice together with nobody around. But no, that was a sort of a neighborhood thing to get these 2 brothers to fight. And we wouldn't. We were close. I was a little heavier than him, out of his weight. But even then, we never. Now, if someone come up and push you at your brother like that, you know, say, "Go ahead, hit him." And we'd turn around, 2 of them would jump him. That's when you want to fight, we'll fight you. But you ain't going to watch a fight. And we were in YMCA boxing teams and ship's boxing team, Navy boxing teams. Neither one of us never lost a fight. But it had a reason for him. And Joe never... He fought left-handed. Back in the old days, you didn't have any left-handed fighters. He would never change right hand. So he never went 3 rounds with a boxer. They always ended him the first or second round because the people didn't know how to fight him. I used to have to go 3 rounds and I'd growl like a hell. But the way we were, and I'd sit over in his corner and he'd sit in mine. We would never fight. Even then, they say we want to have a ship smoker aboard ship and have boxing, and we wouldn't fight each other. Never.
So was the Yorktown the first ship you served on?
No, sir. My first ship was a Salinas. It was an old oil tanker.
What were your duties on that ship?
And my first duty on that ship, that was first duty on the ship that I was on, we went out of training, and they take you right to the ship. So many men needs 10 men or 20 men or what. Here they are, and they lined us up, calling out by names, and they say, "You're going to go and that over there. They'll show you what to do, and you're going to." They call Hartlove. My brother wasn't, when I was on the first ship, my brother was not in the Navy then. Mm-hmm. He was younger than me, and about a year and a half went in later. But they lined us up and called my name. I stepped out, and he says, "Here is a bucket and a piece of string." I said, "Well, bucket, a piece of string, and a bucket, a piece of string." And that was a bucket and a piece of string. And you go up that ladder, and the ladder ran alongside the main mast,
Mm-hmm.
and you put it way up there, and you take over from that man. He'll tell you what to do. I look up there, and one-handed, I'm going up there with him. So the guy says, "Get over there and get going up it." So I went up that thing. God, seemed like I was going to heaven. I got up there, and I climbed on the mast, and the guy told me, he said, "You watch it, it was a foggy day, and it was foggy. We're pulling out of Norfolk and going down to the Caribbean area, and we were transport oil back and forth for the aircraft was really getting in. It was after World War I, say, and they were building up on the airplanes and their ammunition on. We carried oil and gas, or gas and aviation gas. So anyway, what was I saying there about? Oh, we got on the service, and my brother come in about a year and a half, a year. But it was an awful funny thing. I was kind of a independent person, and if I thought I was right, I'd stick around till it was right till I got my way. But I went all through the Navy. I never skipped a rank or a rate going ahead. I started out, I did my full length of time each between going in examinations for each rate. I went through the Seaman series, Seaman third, second, first, and then into third class petty officer, second class, first. And you have to have a year to go, and some of them wouldn't have filled, so you'd have to wait 2 years or whatever there was a rating.
Mm-hmm.
But they took them in what they would call in other words, if you had the time in the service and you could go up for it, you took an exam. Your ship didn't have to have an examination. I mean, a vacancy. I was on a oil tanker, and we were taking them for seamen and all that. And it's the Navy is a funny thing. No matter what rate or rank you are, you can take any other rate or rank. The next one that you're qualified for, anytime you're ready and you took the exam and studied for it and wanted to go up, the examining officer would listen to you and see if you've been working on it or studying on it, and you could try it. You couldn't jump a rate. No going third to first or nothing like that. See, you had to rate the full time and everything else. I got every rate that was coming to me that I studied for and put in for. I've got a lot of exams that I was a qualified locksmith. Yeah. When I was in the Navy, and I was in charge of when I went up as what they call a CWO, a commissioned officer warrant, and I was in the supply department, and we had a commanding officer every time at sea. If you didn't have anything to do, you had to take the examination, whether it's in your own rank or higher or somebody else's. You could take any of them. Mm-hmm. So I was going to I saw an advertisement in their newspaper. In the Supply Corps, we are in charge of most all the ammunition or the food and like that, and you had the lockers and like that. And so we were pretty. All the monies, warrant officers and supply officers are they're the paid masters and everything else. And
so you had the good job dealing with the food.
Well, I tell you, doing with food, I was never a cook. I never made a piece of toast when I was a kid. I came out one of the commissioned warrant officers. I ran galleys for troop transports during the war. I made just about any kind of troop transport. I had an aviation ship. I was on aviation, and I was in charge of the meals, the enlisted men's meals, and we had chiefs. You have their clerks and people. You have the officers, which were the cooks and mess cooks and things like that. There was their side, but you were responsible for every last penny that you used. Every last penny. And they had a funny thing. If you went over, you went 3 months or went over. In fact, you went 1 month and went over. They would hold an inspection on you. They would check you all out. And you would, number one, you would be discharged from the Navy for not doing your job. Or you could be reprimanded for not doing it properly if they find where you basically. And then there came they could make you pay for the difference. And when you get 2,000, 3,000 men on a ship, and you about 5 cents a piece is the cheapest. It's not cheap. And this is honest to God truth, I was a commissary officer with some of the biggest groups. I was twice. I was at the when the repair ships, or I guess you'd call it it was a job that was more or less a secret. All of the jobs that were secret because it was when the atomic ship, when for the test for the atomic explosions, and we had 3 of them, and I was in charge of feeding the number 1 ship for that one.
That was the test at Bikini Atoll?
Yeah, Bikini and Weetalk atolls. I was called out again, and I was supposed to leave the ship because I had too much time aboard. And the supply officer told them to ask them to let me stay with them for the next ones. We had 2 more coming up. That's right. And I had to go back out there again and stay there for the next 2. That's for the atomic blast. And I liked it because I used to make I set a rule for myself. Every day when we were at those areas at the stations where we were, I would use it as let's see if I can do it better, make a better meal or like that. And when I was a kid, the first one in the Navy, we had a supply officer who had a daughter in college, and she would send him her forms and for meals, and he'd give them to the cook and make them feed them. And I was on that ship and used to miss a meal on Saturday nights every night because it was the same thing every week, and it was the open cans vegetables for the desserts, and they would do that. It was funny, they would do that when the cooks and all wanted to go ashore. So the sponsor would do them a favor. He would have a bunch of cans, sit them there and run ashore. So if you ran out, you opened another bunch of your own, see? And I would never allow a can of fruit, mixed fruit or peaches or apples or anything served on my messes. That's right. On Saturday night, I wouldn't let them do it. I'd make them bacon. That's for bacon, ain't for bacon. But it was a crazy thing. But at one time I was in Norfolk, and the cooks came over up to me, came up to my room and said, "We're running out of food and we don't understand it." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "We don't have any food left, and half the men aren't eating." So I said, "The heck with it? Let's go back and find out what's going on here." So we go out and we see all these fellas lined up there, and I said, "What division you in?" A division. You know, he'd name a division like that. That's engineers. you don't look familiar with me, and some of the others would be there. I said, "And you fellow know this guy?" No. They all boiled it down. They were coming ashore off the other ships, walking across the docks and coming aboard and eating. And I had to have tags were made for our ships. So, because I didn't know them all,
Right.
I couldn't figure who was. I have to use to tag my own men. Keeps so we wouldn't run out of food. Yeah, I got two certificates from commanding officers from groups like troops or at the atomic place there, the atomic test areas. And I ran over food my first test out there, and they wanted some report to them why I was over and like that. And I saw them meals at times. This is the truth. It would be 59 cents a day, feed a man. And, 59 cents, I mean, that's 3 meals a day. So, anyway, this, where there was the test. And I went over, and they called me. And I said, yes. And you could always excuse, if you get a good enough reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, the people on this ship, the men on this ship, have no liberty. We were in Niagara. I sat there for weeks and months at a time. Only fun they had or enjoyment or differences was eating. And I say I used those recreation areas, which would grab a full pole, we'd put some fishing gear in it, put some bait in it, put some lunch in it, and anchor them off. And let them, and everybody wanted to go fishing, could eat. Get on, you had your sandwiches, and I'll tell you something later, don't say anything in this. You just used to carry beer. But we put 3 cans of beer per man. You drink beer, I made 1, 2, 3. Whichever give it to them. Then they go out and they drop the anchor and they anchor off the side of the ship. And drink 3 beers and eat 2 sandwiches, grab an apple and come back aboard. And then next party ready to go, they'd go out every time. One friend of mine, the ship anchored across from us. The commissary officer blew his brains out. He got worried because he was under and couldn't do. That's hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
And he had nobody going ashore to eat. Nobody. You ate or you didn't eat. And if you eat a lot of times, you're hungrier than just by not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to, every place I went, I used to experiment and start. And I'd always have some of the best foods in the area. Yeah. So.
Now let me ask you. You met your wife before the war, right?
Oh, yeah. I get back. I didn't tell you when I. Omaha with grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I was going over one day, and a couple of guys said, I don't go much a show, but I was married, didn't know it's away from home. So, way back home with us. Okay, where are we going? Well, Joe here's got his mother, what was it? His relatives and his wife's relatives. We were in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go with them. We're going to have dinner. Okay. So I go over, and they told me that I was coming in like that. So we get over there. They had very nice people. It was her, this fellow on the ship, his wife, family was up in the town, and they invited us over to dinner. So.
Oh, you and your brother?
No, not that time. No, the first meal. I think let him wait for himself. Yeah. But anyway, I went over,
mm-hmm.
and they had a ship's. Oh, that's what it was. They had a ship's dance, a big Navy dance
mm-hmm.
for the Navy. We were coming from. We made a fast trip into Seattle from Hawaii,
mm-hmm.
and we pulled in. We went in dry dock. We completely worked on some parts of the ship.
In Seattle?
What?
You worked on it in Seattle or in Hawaii?
In Hawaii.
Okay.
See, we pulled out of Hawaii. We went out to sea one day, and that was the day we're supposed to have me hit with an accident. So crippled, we went up to Seattle. We went in a dry dock. They cleaned everything up. Just some torch they took apart and put it back and put it and see how fast we could get. Put it together and raced us to Hawaii again.
What year was this? What year was this?
We're talking about the second atomic test that they had. I may be able to get you that date.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Anyway, I got my records and all. Anyway, we went to we went back to Hawaii, and once a quarter every 3 months, the Navy, the ladies from a ladies' society would hold a dance for the sailors.
Mm-hmm.
And there was so many sailors and Navy in the area that we had it down there, so how many years it would take for a man to get through the second time, everything running fair and all square, and him to find a second time. It's always years, I forget how many years. So being the flagship of the Yorktown was flagship of the carriers, and we got the first time, and we went ashore and we got the mail sent to it. So the fellow that opened the mail called me. He was a good friend of mine, and he says, "Hey Dave," he said, "we got 3 tickets." No, it was five tickets. We got 5 tickets for the dance tonight. Well, we were all laughing about this dance and how many going to get to there. So he says, "Want to go?" I said, "How now we go?" He said, "I got the tickets and I'm supposed to give them out." So I said, "Sure." I'll go. I said, "Wait a minute. What about my brother? Okay, we'll take him too. I said, well, that was 4 of us. Does you know anybody else? We got 1 more, might as well. So, called my brother in and said, hey, you want to go dance? Yeah. Think I got a buddy like with you? Yeah. Good. We had 5 of them. So we went to the dance. We got dancing around, and it was kind of a dance that they would line up to tag you, for the next dance and all that sort of thing.
Right.
You dance 3 steps with him, my turn now. So every time I got with this guy, I'd say that he'd get tagged out, he'd come over and tag me. So he could take this girl around. So I was getting tired of that crap, So I says, so this fellow that was with me, he's supposed to go, one of the guys that opened him up, the yeoman, he opened them up, see. We were only still sailors then. So I went to one time and what's that guy said to him? He said to her, let's go get a Coke. And then, everything, let's go get a Coke. I said to my brother, I must see how many Cokes that girl can hold before I quit. So every time you'd finish up with her, I'd say to someone else, you went to dance with her? Yeah. So I could cut him the next time, see? And because he'd go up to him and cut him right away. And then I'd tag him so his butt and foot got in there. So they had 3 dances. No, they had 1 dance a night. And that was once a year. So we left. Every month they were having them for the ships. Like 1 month, 1 month a year, and like that. So we left and had to make a fast run to the East Coast. Oh no, that's no. We went up to went to the base, and they played this emergency deal. The first time was a regular routine ship going in and out. And there they had this regular, they shipped us to Seattle and fixed us repair and sent us back. Well, when we got back, the Enterprise was made exactly like the Yorktown. So they, the everyday person wouldn't know the difference looking at a ship that size. So they thought it was our ship, the ship to repair us. That took our place. They thought he was the ones that went to Seattle and come back. And they took him over to, here's the Admiral's big carrier saying, and come in. Well, it's got to be that one thing. So they sent him over to the wrong ship. So the guy, he said, should we turn him back or what? Turn him back? Hell. So we grabbed these things and we went.
It was another dance?
The guy that got him the first time thing. So the funny part of it was, and we took the same guys with us so they couldn't breach on each other, see. And so we went, my way had a nice time. They had strict orders. You could not give your name in writing or address, and the girls couldn't give you theirs. You couldn't give no phone numbers. If they see anybody writing them down, they go, if they're right, they'd make the sailor go home. So.
Was it mostly Hawaiian girls there?
No, not necessarily. Well, mostly there was most of them were. That's the only thing they had out there. So anyway, I was telling you about that Sam A. coach you got hold, and then I was wondering. He says I was just teasing like that, so she wouldn't give me her name, no their address, phone number, nothing. God damn, I gotta get something out of this. So her mother, she's told me around. She says, that lady over there. And yeah, elderly lady sitting there real nice and quiet.
This is Grandma you're talking to?
It was her mother. No, it was her mother.
Her mother.
Yeah, so I looked at it. I said, God damn. I know what I'll do. I'll see how close I can get to her. So I got over and I'm talking to her. I'm giving this theme. So I started talking about her mother said to me, do you have any of your pictures from your ship? You know, I said, I got a lot aboard ship, but I didn't bring any with me. I said. So anyway, I got around to her mother and said to me, how would you like Sunday for dinner? Come on over and have dinner with us. And I sure, that would be all right. So I said, this gal, to Eileen, I said, grandmother, I said, do you mind if I come over to see your mother? I just never see you. Sunday? No, I can't do that. Can't do that, okay. So I didn't say any more. This Sunday, I get a phone call. Her mother, are you coming over? Yeah. That's true. So, and then I told her, I said, you know, it was the five of us. So we all went there, and she said, bring them all. So we brought the five over. We had a real nice time, but she was shocked. Because I said, I didn't ask you, I asked your mother. So then, after that dance, that was a Sunday because Saturday night was the night of the dancing. So this was the first week. So we got, I think it was a whole month or something where it was about 3 nights in a row. Only it wasn't many. So we had as I made 4 years a piece a ship could bring in, you know. So we left, and then we went to sea, and we came. Oh, I know what it was. After I got with her mother, that I got invited. Well, the ship's going to be going next week, but the week after that we may be in. I'll get stop over and say, oh, and her mother like me. The old man didn't mind. He was a fairly good guy. So I watched myself. So one Saturday I couldn't get a standby because you had either a Saturday or a Sunday, and you went to sea. Come in Friday, went Saturday or Sunday, and went to sea. That's the Liberty. Mm-hmm. But they only had one dance a week. So that's what it was. So when you come back from sea, the people that were there all Saturday couldn't be all Sunday. I mean Saturday, the next 2 in a row. So.
Right.
So, and they didn't have any names or addresses or phone numbers, so it was up the creek. So anyway, so I think I picked about 14 nights of it. That's all I had that I could go over there. And one night, my brother got a standby, and he goes over to Grandmother's house. And I found out he ain't going on a ship. And so he and I was the same duty section. Well, one had to be aboard, the other one was supposed to be aboard. And he snuck to get this exchange without me telling him. So I get an exchange. And I call her. I said, I can get off. I'm going to come on over. She said, well, good. She said, your brother called and asked if I wanted to go to movies and lunch with dinner with him. She says, I told him, yeah. So come on, you join us. I was my brother. I wouldn't go. So I went over and I took my picture album with me and all, and I showed her mother and father and their brothers and sisters, yeah, and their sister, and brothers, which were all my family and everything, my dogs and my so I would build in with them real fast. And her mother said I must just be a hell of a nice guy. So anyway, then we would go out in and out, and then they'd have another one. I wouldn't care about their dances because I was doing my own thing. I went ashore about 14 nights. She told me she was 18, but she was only 17. She was about a week or so. I don't know, close enough. Pretty close. And
how old were you at the time?
I was a first class petty officer. I was about 23.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, and then we pulled out one night, and I hadn't written her nothing. I mean, because during the week we just go out and then come back in, see.
Right.
So during the night while we're out at sea, they pass the word that the ship is we turned to everybody, got up and had to go to work. We had to change, take all the names of the Yorktown off and replace it with another ship's name. And all the books that had the boats had numbers on them and names on them across the back, and your boats are. We had to change all of them.
How come?
Well, so we had to change all of the names and the numbers. So we headed for the canal. Remember Hawaii, we come through the canal and around. Mm-hmm. We had to go into Bermuda. And it was so funny, a Navy American ship going to Canada. They didn't want us anywhere in the know-how, nobody to see us. So we hit, every time we see a ship or something at sea, they put us on these special props and job sites and securities, and the Marines, when we were coming through the locks, the Marines would stand down on the dock or on the edge of the way where they could lean over and watch the top right, and the sailors get over there and hang around or talk to anybody on the dock or something. Mm-hmm. They could shoot them. That was their orders to do it. So didn't have any take to do it, but it was the orders for it. So anyway, we come through the canal. Every time we see a ship, we turn and run, and then turn around and come back. We got through the canal. That took a lot of time. We got through the canal, and we'd say, what ship are you? We had blanks, no names, and nobody would tell them. Because couldn't you get your butt full? So they tell them, don't ask, get the hell away from here, or we'll let you have it. We went all through that and got in, and the base, each side of the canal, you got an Army base, American base, and they control any conversations or like that, you know. When we got through the canal, we hit this other base on this side, and they said, we're going to fire. If you do not answer, we're going to fire. Save us this embarrassment. We said, by you fire, we'll fire too. Just chance that there wasn't, had somebody solve enough to know.
Right.
So we come around, we pulled in at Bermuda. And there this big Navy ship comes into Yorktown. She was a big son of a gun. She come in, first ship to be made an American carrier. We pulled in, and they thought we were another ship. They said we thought we had a different admiral aboard because of which ship we were. We were sent to Bermuda so that we could take over the British had a German ship that was, they're trying to get him. The British was at war with Germany. They were trying to get this ship, and they couldn't find him. So they sent us over here to find that ship, which we did. Our planes went up and everything looking for this ship, and we got it. And they said, what we would do, we would wire to the States, to Washington, that we saw this ship and put the name and number and description. English, regular English. And, well, hell, we weren't in the war. We didn't have nothing to do with it. So they would name, tell the British, or the British would pick it up from them, say, from us sending it over. And they'd ask, are you sure that's it? And stuff like that. And then we'd talk all back and forth. So they got to her, and then they started with what's called shoot on sight. That was with a no shoot. We weren't allowed to shoot. They shot first. Until then, and we had a couple of German ships and English ships that we had gotten contact with for them, and all tankers and like that. So then we were over here, and we got finished with that till they got a couple more carriers over there that they could handle it. Then we went back
to Hawaii.
And it just no, we didn't go back to Hawaii because the war started. I got paid off. I went out of the Navy waiting. The ship was supposed to go out at sea for a week.
The Yorktown?
Yorktown. And I was getting paid off. Well, see, on what you call minority cruise, the guy would mention this, on a minority cruise, then they has to leave you out when you're 20 until you're 21. For 24 hours, you got to be just, you're breaking away from the Navy.
Okay.
So I said to him, you could ship over. But I said, so when you're 20, that your mother and father sign you up. When you're 21, you're on your own. See, that's why that's anyway. I wanted to be paid off because we were getting Christ. We were going to Hawaii and then over here and back, and we ain't seen anybody. So when we went to, it gets a little foggy at times, but when we went to get to England, I mean to that from the ship, we would go from, we'd come out on these ships patrols, and then we'd go in, and the food and provisions and stuff. We usually go up in Boston or in that area. It's closer to where they were using that maneuver, the American area, the northern areas up around the Iceland and like that. So we were making runs like that, and they sent us into Bermuda, and I asked them, I was getting to be shipped over, and they said to me, "Are you going to ship over what?" I said, "I'll ship over it if you give me enough duty that I can miss the ship while it's out, and I'll be on the dock when you get back in." The supply officer says, "I can't supply it. I can't." He and the captain was there. He says, "Hartlove, I can't let you go." I said, "What? You're not? Where are you going? You're going up there and chase submarines." I said, "Why can't I go for that? You don't need me for that." And he says, "Well, we'll be unloaded and have to load up as soon as we get underway. This is all over when this." I said, "Well, that'll work then." He says, "I can't spare you." And I said, "The captain," I said, "Captain, he can't spare me. Well, when the hell is he going to take it? If you don't get me, you ain't getting nobody." And the captain says, "Orders." He says, "No, he's the boss." So I said, "Well, I'm the boss too." Yeah, I was a little shifty those days. That's how I got ahead, I guess. So anyway, I said, "Well, I'm going." Captain says, "Well, then we can't take you with us." I said, "All right, send me home." I said, "The day after I get home, I'll ship over again."
To the Yorktown.
So and I knew I could get back again.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, "Well, let's go ahead." I said, "If he needs a new man, he's going to have one, or I'm going to get back." So my brother picked up my sea bag and hammock and put it all down in the boat, and they sent me, because they were anchored out, they sent me ashore.
And your brother stayed?
My brother stayed. So I left and went home. Well, I was only going maybe a week and a half, and then the war hit.
Mm-hmm.
That hit the following Sunday, say. So the next morning, when the war hit on a Sunday, Monday, I go back up to the recruiting station. I got a card that says that I'm in the service and I have to report back immediately if I need war and all of that bull crap. I go to the lady and says, I want to ship over in the Navy. This is in the recruiting station, not recruiting, in the, what they used to call it, you had numbers.
The draft?
The what?
Talking about the draft?
Yeah, no, it was everybody had to get in it, sign up for it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I went in and the lady says, This is the next morning. She said, "You've been notified. We've been notified that you were sent to Army." So I said, "Wait a minute. How could I be sent?" I said, "Sunday, here I am." She said, "Oh, I guess into the excitement and everything." She said, "They forgot it." She says, "Here." And she took my card, she tore it up and handed it to me. And she said, "You shipped back over?" I said, "Yeah." So she gave me the card. And I walked out that front door and I thought, "Oh my God, I'm a draft dodger." so I ran down to the Navy there, to the recruiting station. I said, "Sign me up." So, "Where you want to go?" I said, "Yorktown." I just left there a week ago. So he says, "Okay, we'll get you back there." I said, "Boy, am I glad. My brother would be glad to see that." He said, "What'd you say?" I said, "My brother and I are together." I said, "He's going to be glad that I can get back." He said, "But you can't." He said, "Wartime, we don't put you together. We break you up."
Oh.
Yeah. He said, "Only peacetime we put you everybody together." I said, "I can't do that." He said, "Well, the hell you can. You're doing it this time." So they put in aviation right there at the base where they were, the recruiting station was. On the base there, and put me right in it. He said, "There, you got aviation, you're close by, you can see them when they come in." I said, "Uh-huh." So, my wife hadn't heard from me in...
Oh, so you're married at this point?
What?
You're married at this point?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
No, I was just going, I hadn't seen her. And
Had you been in contact with her?
yeah, a letter that we were sending. Remember, we're at sea every other weekend. And I think she said it was 20 some days she hadn't heard from me. Couldn't find me, and they couldn't find the ship. Ship wouldn't let anybody find it because we were patrolling. I got a little pin that shows a star on it, and that means that we were in contact with German ships before the
war started.
The war started. We had had back and forth. I think we had 2 subs, I believe, before the war started. And she knows exactly how many days it's been since. Yeah, well, then after that we went all through the war because I got different other ships and everything else. And my brother stayed on the Yorktown till it was sunk. And
he was on it when it sunk?
Oh yeah, yeah. My brother was on it. All my buddies was on it. So I said, well, I think things happen. That ship went out. They were sunk, and my brother was in, and later a guy who was on there that I introduced my sister. Her husband died in the Navy, and I took him over to the house for dinner one night. They hitched up together for 20-some years. But anyway, after that, I just went on other ships, back and forth, all up and down.
All through the war?
Yeah. And after the war was over, why, I was back on the East Coast fighting the war again. And we got that knocked over, and in the meantime, I could contact her. She was her dad sent his whole family from Hawaii to San Diego where they owned a house.
Right.
And they went back there, and I got on a ship. Unfortunately, Well, no, I didn't. I was on a ship, and I started writing to her again. And mother knows how many days and nights it was. We decided to get married. No. One night I was sitting there writing my sister, my wife, Eileen, and my brother come by. He says, "Who are you writing to?" I told my wife, my girl. And he says, "Why the hell don't you ask her to marry you?" And we were laughing, joking, a bunch of us around there. I said, "I'll do that." And I took my letter and I tore it up and I wrote to her. But she come back and she told her mother and father, and her mother said, "You have to write to your father." Her father said, "I'll do that." So I sent a letter to him, and man, he come back. He was number one ready. So he says, "You got to write to your mother, her mother." I'll do that. And I wrote to her mother. Crazy. Her mother was all for it. But everything I did for the marriage, I did. My sister and my mother and I. I got the rings, and I got the rings, and I brought them home. And Eileen says, "Let me try them," and put them on. It didn't fit. Too big. So I thought, I'll go back tomorrow. My dad's in the driveway waving a piece of paper. So I went over to him and I said to him, "What's that paper?" He said, "A telegram from the Navy." Oh, God, I know what that means.
Oh, no.
So I show it to him. And then he says, "Report immediately." So I said, "Well, the fastest I can report is 24 hours. I said, "I'll tell you what. Instead of getting married on the 4th of July, we'll get married on the 3rd of July. So we got married on the 4th of July because, we got married 4th of July. So I said, we'll get married. Anyway, it was a day ahead. So we all got in the car and we do it all over. We got to go give it back to the priest and make sure it was all right with him. He said, "Yeah, we can do it." I said, "Well, I got to, because I got to be out of here."
Right.
And he says, "Well, we can take care of that." Oh man, I had to get that rings changed to fit. Oh, what a paddle that was. The next day we got married. The next day we got on a train and it was going to. I had to go to Norfolk, but we were going on a train to go to where the station that I was at.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up to there, and when I checked in, they said, "Guys, get the hell out of here. You got to go back to the base right away." I said, "When do I have to leave?" He said, "You got to leave tonight."
Oh,
So I got on a boat, mother, grandmother, and I, and come back down to Norfolk by boat. And they put me on a troop transport. And Christopher, this is the truth. That was one of the old, full of dead drunks. I mean, those boys they wasn't giving a damn for that. Wasn't another sailor on there but me. Nothing but soldiers. And God damn. So I said to the conductor, I said to him, I got a bait, what do you call them, a room. They drop the seats and make a room out of it,
Mm-hmm.
So I says, for her, I said, I'll go pay it and put it right on this one. Can't do it, sailor. I said, what do you mean? He was mad about it for these drunks up. He says, can't do it. I said, well, sell me another one. We don't have any more. I said, all right, then let's put it in with me. No, you're not going to do it. I argued with him. I said, I'll give her my room, and I'll sit outside. Can't do it. So I sat out on the arm of her chair, and I never heard or saw that dude since. But it's a good thing I never did, because I sat back there with those drunks throwing beer bottles and heaving shoes and everything else. And her sitting there diving and me hanging over her head. And the beautiful open full slate up the room there with bed and bunks and everything. Oh, gee. What a lovely bunch of people. We got that a base, and I says, well, let's go to a hotel. I called 2 hotels, I think it was. No rooms. You can't get, it's a Navy town, and boats being changed, and everybody moving back and forth, and troops. I couldn't find a ring or a place to sleep. Wait a minute, now let me think. I said, there's a guy on this ship, a friend of mine here. I'll call him. I says, maybe his wife knows, or they may have a place in the living room or something. So I called him. Oh, you can stay from us tonight. We can make room. Okay. I'll go down there with you. So go out in the lobby, get Eileen, we go on down and go to her house. And here she is. It's my buddy and his wife. And I believe the girl was there. The girl that I was going.
Oh, no.
I was going. I just picked up with for the weekend up there. And I had to let Eileen and I go in that room with her. And then she said, we can only keep you. She said, awake. I said, oh. I said, keep me 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days, something like that. And while I'm looking around, I said to this gal, her sister, the one that lived in this house, she said, a friend of mine, I think she's got a place she's going to rent. I said, good, let's call and find out. She did. She rented me a room. And another one of these good friends, they went, oh, Dave, don't you still remember when we were over this and that? Yeah. So that was, I had taken this gal to Norfolk is like, got a lot of tattoo places and what fortune tellers, and this guy comes out one night and he says, grandmother and I said, let's go down the place. They're going to. They got an appointment for a fortune teller. Going to tell their fortune. I said, okay, then this is true. I said, okay. So we go with them. We go down there. And the fortune teller there, and she's oh, glad to see us and all. And I said, got through with that gal telling her about her, lies and all. He said, but you're next. I said, no, I'm not lying. Oh, yes, sir. I said, I don't have any time. I didn't make any time with you. I don't have any spare money. You can't help it. You're next because we're going to pay for it and everything else. Yeah, you're going to get married in a real short length of time. But it's not to her.
Who'd she point at? The girl?
The grandmother.
Oh, she pointed at
Yeah. Grandmother. But not to her. Oh, Christ. That girl started crying because she's not getting married. And when I went up to the father to tell him about getting married the day early, I handed him. I was doing everything by mail and like that. So Eileen had already, grandmother had always told me that she was 21. And I get her birth certificate mailed to us. I say, she says, wait a minute. She's not 21. So I said to the father, Father, I don't know what we're going to do about this. I said, she's not 21. He looks at it and he looks at it and he says, is there a mother and father for it? I said, yeah, both of them. He said, how do you know that it's both of them? I said, I wrote a letter to one and then to the other. I'll show you the letters. He said, no. He said, that's all right. He said, you got two letters. So just tell her, the wife, if anything happens, why, that's her problem. And no one's ever seen that they wrong with it or anything else. Never to this day. Yeah.
So, why did you finally leave the Navy?
Well, my dad asked me one time, we used to talk later and stuff like that. I was as high as I could go. Chief Warrant Officer, 5th, number 4 commission, and which meant that there was no more than, they were thinking about making a 5th one, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. So it only got 4, and I couldn't go higher. See, and like now I wouldn't be any. I'd still be in the same position. I can't go higher than 4. So, and I had enough time in, that I could get, and I wanted to get started at something else, be sport. And I wasn't the kind of person that, I looked around and studied around and I thought, man, it was right at the time when things were going good and people were looking for houses, and so I come out of the service and dove right into studying for financing and houses and credit, everything like that. See, I took the locksmith's job. And of course, I'm a qualified locksmith. I am. And then I got to know the area, and I knew Norfolk, and not Norfolk, Maryland, up in Washington and Maryland section, where we are now. And I got over there. I finished my Navy time there, so I had gotten around and know a lot of the people and all that. I got in with the real estate people there and all. So after I liked that, I thought it was a good deal that I was getting into, and I still was more or less on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate brokers got salesmen working for him, but they're on their own. I mean, in fact, they're more so. It's real estate's a funny thing. You learn so much, and all of a sudden you got to stick with your own ideas, because you can't follow everybody's joy and everybody's way. But I got into real estate and got into financing, and I'll tell you, Chris, I wouldn't want this going to tell you, but for so much of it, you get to know people and the monies and things like that. There's a lot of things you can do with your money if you watch it.
Mm.
I've got to show you how you can maneuver around and all. I had some stocks that I've had for, I got this, some like 20-some years, and I've left them lay, and I've been able to help a lot of people, help them and help myself, because I'm still friends with some of them. I've had a position where I've loaned money out. You get in real estate, you get to learn how to loan money out. But I loaned, got money that was loaned out. I've got money that have already been paid to me. I had some that I had to sell, only to find out that I was drawing. Now this is very, very recently. I was drawing 7.5% interest. And when I'm just talking about a few days ago. You find somebody getting 3 points. I got 7, and I got it for something like, I think about 20 years. I looked at that thing and I said, "Is that right?" The guy said, "Sure, it's right." God, wait a minute. I put that back in. It goes back for 7% for 1 year. Then it only drops to 5%. put that on. However much I'll leave it later. So you can learn a little rules and regulations and
Right.
And I see these papers in the paper, ads in the paper. Make $1 million, sell this, and I made $6 million over a 6 months period. That's bullshit. And you can read every one of those paper ads that are there.
Mm-hmm.
Those examples they've got are what cost the people who lose those houses. And you can say, if you all talk to those people the true way, and so they can make it, but no, you talk them into losing the house so that they can buy it. And, you know, it's a shame. It's a crying shame.
So, what made you go from real estate into politics?
Real estate into politics. I knew a lot of people in politics in this area and home and like that, and they're very good friends of mine, and they were nice people. And you work together if you get good friends and trust in them and all. It's good. But it's got so that unfortunately the politics, you got some of the scariest people I think is on American one earth. It's unbelievable how far and how extent. Well, you can read in the paper every day. So and so got caught here lately. Congressman so and so got caught with a wife, and Congressman or Senator so and so got this, and I don't know. It seems like they're all. I don't want to say everybody's doing it, but a hell of a lot of them's doing it. And I got out of it. I went in 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Is that why you got out?
I got out of it because of it's not. It's just not truthful. There's some gal they start put against me, and what my attitude was, the hell with her, let them have it. Yeah, I didn't know. So that night when they were taking the finals and everything, and the match, she won. I said, Arlene and Grandma, let's go. And we start walking down, and guys come up to me and say, "Hey, Dave, yeah, what are you going to do now?" Going fishing. I got the money. I go fishing. What are you going to do? Yeah.
So, what jobs did you hold while you were in politics?
When I was in politics, I started off with I was president of the real estate, not real estate, president of the you get them in line. I was on the board of trade for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
and I was the director of the Board of Trade. And that was another paid job along with my after I quit real estate, I was in I had real estate when I was with the Board of Trade. I have real estate, but it's where you can run two jobs, both of those things. Mm-hmm. Just do it at nights, and it's one of them won't hit into the other one, completely different. And it was variety, a lot of difference, and difference of people. Mm-hmm. You helping people with get real estate and get a house and like that. You get a good feeling from it. You're helping people, and it's you make them feel good and they look good. If you treat them right, tell them the truth, you can get a good help with it. I've seen some friends that I walk in now. I'll go on a Sunday in the church down here where we are, and someone will say, "Oh, hi there, Mr. Hartlove." I look at the lady or man, whichever one it is. I know your face, but I just can't place your name. You sold me a house at such and such a place. Get a lot of but if you treat them good, they're not going to forget you.
Right. Was that how you met Mike Miller? Is that how you met Mike Miller?
No, Mike Miller was a little town in Clinton, and he was in the church with kids, and that's how the mother and the grandmother got in with his wife. Mm-hmm. And Mike Miller was would work with us when we had repair work and stuff to do in the houses and the schoolrooms and stuff like that. And that's how I got close to Mike. Mm-hmm. But then they got a girl in there, what's her name? I forget. Anyway, she was crooked. She did a lot of lying. Promised people things and you could see right out it's a damn lie. Mm-hmm. And I just don't want to be around people like that. I had one girl been with me quite a while. She was real good. So I said to her one day that this couple is going to come back and let me know whether they're going to buy this house or not. I said, so they go to lunch. I said to her, get them to sign it for me. Not for me, see. Mm-hmm. I came back later and I said, have they come back yet? Oh, no, they didn't come back yet. Okay. She must have thought I was as dumb as her. Because I wanted to ask her, have they come back? No, they didn't come back yet. And I said, oh, I'm getting ready to go home. Here's two I got where you was going. I mean, 2 sales. I said, let me see them. Because I had to approve everyone. Pull one of them, didn't know them, I pulled the other one, I'd probably damn. Here they are right here. And I said, wait a minute. God damn, I said, I told you that one is mine, that would be back. And I grabbed a piece of paper, I had written it on. I said, here's their names and initials. What do you mean? He said, you can't hurt a guy from trying. I said, guess what? What's that? I said, you're fired. She said, would you fire me for that? I said, well, let me show you something. If you put another check in here with your name on it, either I'm going to have a stroke or somebody else is going to have one. Yeah.
Now you know Steny Hoyer too, right?
Oh, yeah.
How'd you meet him?
I met him through when I was handling, I was in the Board of Trade, and I got to work with the people, close to the politics. And Steny and I knew her wife very well. In fact, I knew her, but I say I knew better than him because he divorced her. And later she died. But well, I can't blame him for everything, but a lot of it was his fault. But Steny he's what I wouldn't do in politics. He would do what I wouldn't do. I can't say telling bare-faced lies and some of the damnedest. No, Steny's a nice guy, but no. That's why I met with real estate. I mean, with politics, the way in now, it is getting so bad and so treacherous. I wouldn't stay with. I'd stay in politics, but I don't think they could keep me. It's the honest truth. It's a shame.
Now let me backtrack a bit. When you were serving in the Navy, didn't you do like decoder work also?
Oh yes, I was. Now,
was this before or after you were a CWO?
What?
Chief
Warrant Officer?
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't have necessarily been anything with that.
Was it after the war started? Were you doing it after the war started or before?
Both.
Okay.
Got it while I was doing the war.
Okay.
I was the commissary, the coding officer. That's when you want to do something extra, and you go over and tell the coding officer, "I'd like to learn the trade, and I'll get up," because they're for spare jobs, like during the night and during the Sundays or days that you're just sitting around. If somebody's got to be working, then
right. That's
the jobs. But I was assigned to the Yorktown. No, not the Yorktown. I was assigned to the Fremont, I believe it was. It was a troop transport. And I was assigned to the Fremont as the coding officer, decoding and coding officer. That was during the war and the end of the war.
Okay.
And I was on a ship, and the ship was ordered to send to the to the East Coast, West Coast, from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the West Coast to the East Coast, rather. And they said they didn't have any coding officer, and found out that the captain said to them, "Look, we can go. They had to wait for a coding officer," and it was. So well, we can wait. During the war, when they had these short number of people, they figured we were getting paid off into the old ports like draft out or and we didn't have any coding officers other than myself.
Mm-hmm.
There was the one there, but I'm not a coding officer as such. In other words, a coding officer because I wanted to be, and I learned it. But only the people that would know it would be the other coding officers all on the ship that had seen my work and what I'd done and like that. And they won't order a ship with an officer who's nothing says in these records he's a coding officer unless he is. And the skipper had a good time, so he sent word that they could get out of their way. They had a coding officer, and it was me. But I'm not a type of not my record. I'm a coding officer, and I've been breaking numbers, dispatches with numbers, with alphabets. Some of them with every third word you reverse it upside down, turn around. Oh man, there's a good ones.
How long did it take you to learn all that?
You can't say on how, and the reason I ask, you may give you a bunch of pages with numbers, all these numbers, and a number like A would be 1, like that, or it may be A will be number 5. That's what they do that deliberately, and show a 5 with a dash would be something or so and so, but I learned it by working there, working in them, and I'd go in on my own, and I'd say to the officer, "Would you mind showing me how you're doing those? I've never seen one of them before." And he'd know, "Sure, let's come on," because he knew I was working in there with the other ones, and I was curious. He liked how to sit there and have a telegram come in and dispatch. That could be of some great importance, and yet you can't do anything about it. You feel like a big fool. You know, I got this thing. I don't know how to work it. So I used to sit down a lot of time and study them. Some of them, if you got a long enough time, you could sit there and work on those types. But there's some of them. There'll be how much of one says M and 9, 10, like that. And some come along with a semicolon. What the hell is a semicolon? Well, yeah, they can throw some whippers there. And usually when it's something like that, it's got something about it. It's odd because it wouldn't have been that way. But military, my dad told me one time, He said, if you're going when I first went in, he said, "Bud, let me tell you, when you're going to be in the service," he says, "you take your first 4 years, and you do like me, you stay on the decks or run the boats." He says, and you enjoy it. He said, and you had to go ashore at night and have a good time and enjoy yourself and everything. He says, and then 4 years later, when your time is up, get out. You've had a good time, get the hell out. Mm-hmm. He said, or if you want to go in the Navy and make a success out of yourself, get in a department. English, supply, communications, whatever you get. And he said, and learn something. Then you get ahead. Well, I have been, and I won't lie about this. The war was pretty successful to me. I was in a position where I saw it, I could help study it. I was on a ship with three combinations in the supply department. We had three combinations in 3 cities, and I was the only one who knew of one of them. And fortunately, I had to open at least one of the 3 at least one time. We only had one that we had to blow up. But it's like electricians. You got sailors aboard ships that are electricians, and they're as good an electrician you can buy to find for your house. Mm-hmm. It's if anyone asked me about getting into service, I would tell them, if you want it, go for it. But if you just want to play around, don't. You can come out, I've seen officers come out of the Navy, started from, well, I could have come out, I was recommended, and I got this letter in the house that I can show it. I was recommended for a lieutenant, full lieutenant. When they recommended me for, and then they tried to get me changed to an ensign, and they wouldn't do it because if they had gone in for me for a lieutenant, I'd have got it. Mm-hmm. Not lieutenant, ensign. I'd have got it. But and then probably, well, I'd have been higher than that now, because you don't have to stay that long, and after so long as it's ensign or JG, why they're going to put you out or else. But
so let me ask you, looking back on a long, happy, successful marriage, and very, I would say, fruitful family life, and looking at all your children and grandchildren, what do you think? What do you feel looking back and seeing all that?
I don't understand what you mean. What do you think?
Like, all right, let me try to rephrase it. And just how do you feel? Do you feel like the life you've lived has been the life you wanted?
Let's put it this way. My family did not hamper my positions in commercial life, or is my getting ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess you could say I didn't let it. I've spent a lot of time with that I put into politics and different jobs, and cut off from my family. And you have to know this: how far can you go with your family? And politics or family-wise, there's an awful lot of times, like politics. I see politics today is pretty damn sneaking. It is. You got to be damn hard. I don't say every politician's a crook, but I'll say a hell of a lot of them are crooks. And it's a shame. It's a hell of a shame. And I was going to vote. Mother and grandmother and I both were going to vote for that. What's his name? Obama. Obama, yeah. And if he gets everything through that he's running through now over in Europe, he's out of his goddamn mind. If he gets everything through, he's a blind leader. Because he's following some bad ideas.
Well, I just mean in terms of just in general, looking back on your marriage and how it's lasted so long. I mean, what would you say, I guess, the reason that, you've been married for 60 plus years?
We've been married for 66, I think 66 years.
66, yeah.
It's a long time.
What do you think's the recipe for a marriage that happy?
Truthfulness to each other is number one. I don't give a damn what they say. If you're not truthful, you notice when mail comes in, I open the mail, whether it's hers or mine or what, it don't matter. Because a lot of it hers is from these military, from these, what do you call them, these politics. Just send me this, $5, $20, $100, $1,000. Oh, God. They send letters to grandmother that, number one, they do not know, nor do they care, whether she's a petition or a Republican, Democrat or a Republican. They do not know it, because they send her some of the nice letters and say about that. You got to watch out for that guy, that communist, so and so or whatever. And I look through there, and they're telling all the same lines to go that way. It's so. In fact, I quit trying in the last couple of days. He's living probably. That's one of the things I'm trying to drop away from Steny Hoyer. I don't know what you know about Steny Hoyer.
Not much.
Steny Hoyer was married to a real nice wife. She was an awfully nice lady. And I knew her personally. Steny Hoyer can tell you the damnedest lie and glaze over it, tries to put an or but on the end of it. This will tell you. Grandmother and I are out loading my car. Groceries at BK Miller's down here.
Mm-hmm.
BK. Anyway, he come walking out to get in his car. And, oh, hi there. Let me give you a hand. He's got yet to say me by Dave or Eileen or Hartlove, or he's got yet, and that was a yet ago. That's been a year ago. He didn't know who in the hell we were. Don't give me that crap. He knew who we were. I mean, Steny and I are like that. We're half. I mean, we were awfully good friends. Mm-hmm. And I call him Steny. You know, he's easy pick name for me. But I don't say too much about him because I just don't. I'm scared to trust him. I know he's not always been fair with me, and he'll find a reason or a reply for it. But there's the new ones. God damn, they'll write you a letter and ask you about it. $2,500 or $5,000 and give you reasons and all that, and say another letter to somebody else that they wrote maybe the day before, it's just completely opposite. And I got out of politics because that's why all the letters come in Grandmother's name. See, you know why? Now, I'll tell you the honest truth. I'll give you 3 guesses.
I don't know. Tell me.
She writes the checks. I don't sign any checks. I've never signed a check since I've been out of the Navy. Mm-hmm. I let her sign it. She can sign my initial name or anything else if I allow it. If I don't get up there and say, hey, I don't like that when you knock that one off or something. They don't know her first name. They said Mr. Dorothy.
Yeah.
Every one of these letters that came in today, at least 1 or 2 of them got to Mr. Dorothy Hartlove. And they think, you know, I'm silly. Shit.
So aside from trustworthiness, is there anything else you think?
Huh?
I said aside from trustworthiness, do you think there's anything else that keeps a marriage long and healthy?
If you keep a long and healthy marriages, this sounds silly, But this is a rule we've picked since the day we were married. Never go to sleep over an argument. Never go to sleep without saying good night and a kiss. And by agreeing, okay, look, let's figure it and sit down and figure a work out. We can work it this way. Grandmother and I go into some really good, and it's mainly will be on something with maybe we're tired. You got to realize that she's tired at the end of the day, the same as you, probably more so than you, and a bigger reason. But we tell anybody, everybody, I say, how did you do it so long? Never go to sleep on an argument. We may lay there for 2 hours. God damn it, kiss me goodnight so I can go to sleep. But that's the honest truth. If you can, there's nothing can keep a reason or something that's so strange that you can't come to some kind of a decision to work it out or to work on it tomorrow or something like that. But you know, this isn't corny, but lots of times I come down and sit and growl. My legs hurt me so goddamn bad sometimes. That. And you know, the doctor won't let them operate on me. He says no soap. He's told 3 of them to get the hell out of here. 3, you know.
You guys been sleeping yet?
Still talking.
Huh?
Still talking.
You can't be still talking.
Yep.
What?
You know how long it is?
It's been over 2.5 hours.
I know.
Well, we can talk.
No, I know that. I thought maybe you fell asleep or something.
You know, look, this is the same reason, one of the reasons we're talking along.
Why?
Because sometimes people just keep wanting to butt in and get
Oh,
us.
you looking at me like that? I was going to say, do you guys want some dessert or something?
Oh, yes. See, I tell you that works out.
You want to have a milkshake? Want me to make you a milkshake? Or would you like ice cream in a dish? You two, Chris, say what you want.
What
I
kind
know
of
he doesn't want to drink too much. I don't know if you...
What kind of drink? Got to.
I can make a milkshake.
What kind of ice
Chocolate
cream?
or banana?
Banana. I'll take some banana.
Banana milkshake?
Yeah, it is.
What kind do you want?
Chocolate.
Chocolate one? All right, I'll make 2 milkshakes.
Okay, you want to come out and join us then?
Maybe.
Well, if you could talk nice about it.
You getting any information? Yeah?
Yeah.
I hope you have the dates right, dear.
I don't know how long
dates mixed up.
How long we've been married? 66 years.
Yeah.
Give me a check. Give me a check for
Did
that.
I tell you how old we were when we met?
He was 23 and you were 17.
Right.
See?
No, I was 16. I had just turned 16.
Yeah.
I was 17 when I got married. I was 16. I was
I
16
said
in August and May
17
and
when you got
November.
married.
Oh, you said she was 20 when she got married.
Oh my God!
I
no.
didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
I have it
No, I
on the
was
tape.
17 and somebody was supposed to sign for me.
I didn't say that.
He said she was a few days shy of 21.
Oh no, he meant 18. I guess
no.
I was about 3 months shy of 2 months shy of 18.
Yeah, no.
That's what I'm saying. So if you got any dates in there, check with me.
I told him that.
Okay, I know he's always been crappy with
He
dates.
said, what's a good, he holds a good marriage together. I said,
When you can admit your faults
I said,
with humor and grace.
I check with you.
With me. He does have a problem with ages and names of kids. He was all right till there got to be so many. And now, honest to God, Chris, some of these new kids with their names. I'm telling you, I can't think. It's just, oh, look at that cat. Look where she's right in the sun. She shouldn't have been out there. She was on my desk for a while. I threw her off.
Well, you make the ice cream on. Please.
Huh?
Please make the ice cream.
Let's see, you were fine till I mentioned it.
See? Sometimes you can't always give them their way.
Well, I guess that's all I have for now. I know I'm definitely going to have to come back again and talk about more stuff, but I think 2 hours, 35 minutes is good for today. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop it.